This whole situation with Gillette from the other day, this toxic masculinity advert that has had all of the left-leaning social justice warriors coming out, they're going like, "Why are you so upset at a Gillette ad?" Virtue signaling left and right over it. Because they feel that they've got the upper hand here because Gillette waded into a political discussion that was quite frankly not necessary for them to dive into. I'm not saying don't have an opinion. Don't have an opinion as an employee. Sure, have your own opinion. But a company should not sit there and attack their primary demographic because, you know, toxic masculinity. That's just dumb. Money is money. You are beholden to your shareholders and to your employees to make sure that they still can be fed and be paid and work for you. And when you do something like that, you run the risk of really damaging your brand forever. And they haven't come out and said anything to kind of back away from that. It kind of feels like they've doubled down. But there's an article here on the New York Post I think is great because it summarizes that we're kind of hitting peak stupid, even though we're only 22 days into 2019. Says that idiotic Gillette ad may have turned the tide on toxic masculinity. And if you've ever followed my channel for a long period of time, I've talked about toxic masculinity in regards to how it's used as a way to attack men. Oftentimes, not even things that are really considered toxic about masculinity, but they attack the very concept of masculinity and turn it into this thing that gets Gillette down the road to make an ad saying like masculinity is bad. Okay. Although that is not what they're going to say that it is. And that's what a lot of people, like those at the Young Turks and everyone else in that particular sphere are saying this is not, not attacking all men. It didn't really show any good examples of men to lead into the bad few and not the overwhelming majority of good men. So that's why I'm actually glad this article exists. Now, she says here, razor blade commercials aren't supposed to make national headlines, but these aren't ordinary times. Last week's Gillette commercial playing on the Me Too movement became the latest piece of corporate messaging to berate and belittle men. And again, you will never, ever, 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 ever see this particular subject matter flipped around. You will never see it shined on women. And I'm not saying that you have to. I'm not saying that they need to come out and attack women. I'm saying stop attacking all men. Yes, there are problems with both genders. I don't think anyone out there will disagree with that. But when you target one specific group and you target one specific type, by basically branding everyone in there as one specific way, I'm sorry, that's bigotry. That's being prejudiced. That's these things. It's reality. That's why there's a pushback because men are tired of essentially being told they're useless and that they're bad and that they're evil. And that's what a lot of this type of messaging sends because there's no positive reaffirmation to say, no, you're fine, but there are dickholes out there that are bad. And that's who we're talking about. That's the problem with these adverts. They're tone deaf as hell. Now, she says the commercial implored men to be better, while juxtaposing the scenes of boys wrestling at a cookout, bullies menacingly chasing down a boy down the street, men catcalling women, making lewd jokes, and generally acting like brutes. Many Americans were angry, at least not men, whom the commercial framed as universal aggressors and rapists, which, again, is a bit hyperbolic, but I do believe errs more on the side of truth than anything else. Fans claimed that those who were upset by the Gillette ad should be asking themselves why. The implication was that if you didn't like being lectured by a company trying to sell you razors, it must mean that you are likely the bully and the sexual assaulter, and the ad makers had in mind when they made the commercial. Yeah, it's a catch-22. The whole thing is a damn catch-22. And the reason why it's like that is because they can sit there and tell you that this is how we perceive the truth, even though it's very subjected, very hyperbolic, very one-sided, very heavy-handed, and plays very fast and loose with the concept of what it is they're trying to do. And then they say, well, if you don't like it, if you try to comment against it, you're the bad guy. Now, I don't want to keep bringing up Ghostbusters 2016. However, I'm going to bring up Ghostbusters 2016 because this basically falls in line with the same concept here. The same concept of that was the trailer came out, people went, there's some problems here. And then the response came back that was, well, why are you a sexist? Why don't you want women Ghostbusters? And then the people saying, well, hold on here. I didn't actually say that. I didn't actually say that at all. I don't know where you're getting this information from, fake news, blah, blah, blah. And that becomes the narrative going forward. And here it is almost 3 years later, and that is still the narrative. This is the problem with this type of coverage of this type of really terrible tone deaf, one-sided advert. It goes on to say here that men are constantly barraged with criticism. Men are the worst has gotten old. The word masculinity is only preceded by the word toxic these days. And that is so true. Meanwhile, men have been on a downward trajectory for some time now. Fewer men go to college. More men commit suicide. More men live at home with their parents well into adulthood. And there's reasons for that. Manufacturing jobs have transferred overseas. I don't want to quite say coal jobs or those kind of industries have dried up. What we see now is 2/3 out of all college graduates are women. And I don't have a problem with that. But the fields they go into are more like social sciences or education or more administrative work that puts them in offices that men don't traditionally go after. And as a result of that, they're finding more and more work because these companies still have to maintain, they still operate within those spheres, and they still need those types of employees. But the manufacturing jobs, the labor jobs, the construction jobs, mining, whatever, those have started to dry up and leaving half the population at a certain age going, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do now? And then every time they go, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, they're told, no, wake up. No, you don't get to complain. No, this is our world now. That's what they get all the damn time. All the damn time. And when they say something about this, right, what are they branded as? Oh, you're a bigot. Oh, you're a misogynist. You're a terrible, sexist, horrible human being. So they create the men's rights movement, the men's rights advocate, and they go out and they talk about family court and disposability of men and all of these issues. And again, they're branded as these almost like sexual terrorists, so to speak. And they're not. They're people that are out there with a grievance, a legitimate fundamental grievance about where our society is at and where it's going and how certain people, certain gender demographics are being left behind. And statistic after statistic after statistic consistently backs that up. It's so weird when you have a minority, in this particular case with colleges, saying, hey, listen, or an age group around that same age, saying there's a problem here, and the majority is going, no, you're fine. We're the victims here. And those people, yeah, funny. Don't mean to rant. That went on a little bit too long. Anyway, it says, men take the most dangerous jobs. They fight in dire wars, and they're told nonstop that they're terrible, and the future isn't for them, and they're expected to shrug it off because, well, they are men. If men are traditionally stoic and impervious to criticism, and we like them that way, then the idea that men can take the shot simply because they are strong and manly flies in the face of the commercial, which bashes male stoicism. I have to thank Carol Markowitz for writing this article. And I have to thank the New York Post for posting it. This is a situation where you've got an outright, it's showcasing the assault on men. It's showcasing the terribleness of a certain situation. It's not one that is, oh, all is lost, woe is me, we're done sort of thing. But it does feel that way sometimes. It does feel like that's an issue sometimes. And you get people like Anita Sarkeesian that downplay that constantly because she needs to play the victim in order to make money. And people like her that always do that. But you have actual men, one half of our society, one half of our population, that are suffering in certain key aspects. And when they say, I need help, they're met with a Gillette ad that says, hey, don't be a dick. And they go, well, yeah, but I'm not a dick. I'm actually like a pretty cool guy. And they're like, yeah, don't be a dick. And when they say, well, no, seriously, I'm not like this, they're told by everyone else, no, stop, dude, don't complain. You're being a dick right now. It's funny how the pendulum has swung the other direction in a certain number of areas, and yet no one's willing to even acknowledge that from the other side. Kind of funny what happens when one group's in power, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Hey, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Since you're here, why don't leave a comment? Let me know what you think about stuff. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do that as well. And you check out any of these great, fantastic, amazing commentary tracks by me. That's right. I'm not egotistical or narcissistic at all. I'm just your average, everyday, normal YouTuber. Thanks for watching.